Hey everybody, welcome back to Waxy Brown's Flower Power Hour. We're going to take you to an interview here in a moment in Jefferson City. So one of the things we like to do is if there's something happening out there in the cannabis world, no matter what it is, maybe it's a grand opening, maybe it's a patient drive. We like to talk about those things, right?
Well, and like a blunt rolling contest.
Our blunt rolling contest, yeah, which we've done those too, you know. But this is a little more serious because cannabis is being talked about in the Capitol, and we need to understand exactly what they're talking about. So I found myself going up in the Capitol with Ethan Thampy, and he walked me around to some of these folks. And so I wanted to interview a couple of the Black Caucus members because I had, one thing that really intrigued me about this legislation was that it had a kind of, it was bipartisan, right? It had both sides. So I was kind of very, very interested in hearing what they had to say. In this interview, there were some things I needed to hear, and I think there were some things that needed to be said. So are you guys got that queued up for us? All right, well, Steve and Billy B are going to take us over to this interview, guys. We'll be right back. Hey, everybody, it's Waxy Brown from Waxy Brown's Flower Power Hour, KKID 92.9 out of Rolla, Missouri, and Salem. We're here with Representative Wiley Price IV out of St. Louis, Missouri, one of our representatives holding it down for the people up here at the Capitol. We're here today to talk about, legalization efforts with cannabis. And when we talk about legalization efforts with cannabis, one thing we can't not talk about, one thing we have to talk about are the 40,000 Americans that are left behind in jail as a billion-dollar industry goes forward. So, Representative Price, thank you very much for taking the time today to talk to us. My question today really comes down to what does expungement in Missouri look like for you? Because we find that with these different initiatives, different bills, different legislations, that's a word that seems to redefine itself over and over and over. So from your perspective, from being up here, what does that look like for you?
For me personally, I think that expungement should be just that. I mean, the true definition of the term. It should be a second chance. It should be a start over. It should be an eradication of whatever you've done in the past. And if it's not that, then you're not really truly expunging. You're doing something else. It's a deviation of whatever the term is. And so I think it speaks more to people not really wanting to give people a second chance and wanting to keep a grip on a head start on a large portion of the general public. Expungement should be a true second chance, and nobody should be able to pull up anything on me in regards to this issue that was expunged by the state, which is the same sovereign body that gave me the F on my report card, right? So they've taken accountability for that. They said, okay, well, we realize now that times have changed, like we feel differently about this, we remove that. If it's not that, then what you're doing is selling wolf tickets.
So that's a great way to put that, second chance. I haven't heard it really put like that before. When we talk about a second chance, then we aren't just talking about erasing some records or knocking off some charges that are on a case net somewhere. We're talking about programs as well, correct?
No, absolutely. I mean, you have to have, okay, so programs, again, jail is supposed to be a debt to society. That's the term that we use. And so if it's a debt to society, then society then has to do their part. It's a debt on twofold. So you've done your time. Now that you come out, so there has to be systems on both sides. So what I would like to see is some kind of program implemented on the inside to where if this is the place of your expertise, institutional knowledge that you've had, whether it was legal or illegal, okay, cool. You want to stay in this arena? We'll give you 6 weeks of education on the plant, and when you come out into a halfway house. It's actually a cultivation facility.
Wow.
See what I'm saying? And so then you have programs on the outside that are waiting for these people to come out. We have a workforce issue in this state. So you can't both have the highest amount of people locked up and a workforce issue. You feel what I'm saying? So you're going to have to integrate those things. There has to be an intersection. That is the intersection. So people from these industries should have some type of situation where they have set up where they know that these people are coming out. They know that they've been properly trained. They know that we already have a situation right now coming out of the pandemic where we don't have a lot of people showing up to work. We have a staffing issue in every entity of business. And this is an easy way to fix a lot of issues. I don't know exactly what the number is of Missouri prisoners that are locked up for marijuana charges, and I'm speaking specifically nonviolent.
Of course.
You know what I mean? So I don't know what that number is, but I know that would be a huge boost, not only to the economy, but also to the workforce once those people got out and were properly trained.
Yeah, on twofold there, you mentioned the jobs. I just read that 1 in 10 new jobs in Missouri were cannabis-related jobs. And as adult use passes, that's going to be a whole lot more jobs. So to have something like you're talking about in place would be a blessing.
Yeah, I think that is, again, it is a second chance. I think that people, a lot of people have given up and are kind of stepped back and just okay with the life that they've had to live because they made a mistake at 20, 21, young, and now they're 32, got a family, trying to make a move, but they still got this F on their report card. If you expunge that, and this person's been completely on the up and up for the last 15 years of his life, expunge that, give them the opportunity to go into situations where they don't have to check that box.
You touched on something too that I'd like to touch on, and that's that we don't know the number of folks that are left behind that are behind bars for cannabis. That's because a lot of the folks that got charged were charged with things like manufacturing or distribution of a controlled substance, things like that. Going forward, I think that I hope and pray that there'll be a conversation where we can figure out ways to identify and get that data and find those people that are there instead of just anecdotal.
Absolutely. There has to be, and it unfortunately it can't be a one-size-fits-all situation. It kind of has to be a case-by-case basis, but I mean that's what it was going in, so that's what it's got to be coming out. You know what I mean? We didn't put a blanket over a group of people, and in theory we kind of did. But I'm saying these are case by case incidences where people were found guilty and they went in for their charges.
You've been a proponent for legalization and for smart legalization for a while now in your district. Do you feel like this is possibly the year that we're going to see these laws begin to land and begin to see forward movement?
I think that this is the year that we're going to see the needle move in a way that we haven't seen it move in the past. I think that the legislature now understands the public threat and the public power of IPs. I mean, that's clear. And right now we are trying to pass a bill to make it harder to pass IPs. We're going to make it harder to get them, more expensive, more signatures, a greater amount of votes to pass and change the Constitution, all of that. We're trying to make it to where a certain amount of the population has to vote in order to make it pass and change in the Constitution. And I always remind people they wouldn't be working this hard to make it harder to involve yourself in the democracy if they didn't notice that it was working and the people were actually trying to use it for their advantage. So we have to be conscious of that. Again, it's twofold. People, and I hear a lot of bitching and moaning about what politicians do. Like, it's your fault they're a politician. And that's the real. You got an option to go vote. You got an option to get people to go vote. You got an option to go out here and garner the vote and garner people to go out and register to vote and then go vote. Like, and if you're not doing that, in my opinion, in my position, I'm like, shut up. You know what I mean? Because I'm here and I see a lot of people on the other side where I'm like, I'm not sure that you're here for the people. And honestly, the people on my side, I'm not sure that they're here for the people. But like, we as the people have to be in a position where we understand our power. The biggest way that people give up their power is by thinking that they never had any. And that's where we at in politics with the general public.
Well, I can say this from the cannabis community out there, we've got one big topic that is just driving us all absolutely insane when you talk about the different initiatives and the different legislations, and that is expungement and that is social equity. So from the cannabis community to one of us, I just really appreciate you being there and having these conversations and making sure that it's heard the way it needs to be.
Yeah, the social equity piece is something completely different. That's something so that's a different kind of conversation. I'm probably going to say something that is very unpopular, but
you're not going to say anything that's not going to trust me.
The marijuana industry. Let me put it this way: white folks in the marijuana industry have to get behind and have to be okay with an equity program, and they have to be okay with the fact that like black people specifically need an opportunity to get ahead here and have an opportunity to have generational wealth, and they should not be coming in at another disadvantage when they've already been put at disadvantage about this particular plant in particular.
Right. You look at New Jersey; they just awarded all their licenses to all white folks. Like that's an insane.
But it's not insane because it's not insane. Insane would suggest that it is outside the norm. You feel what I'm saying?
Definitely.
And so like it's just not. And so like it becomes an issue of, are white people in the marijuana business really our ally or not? It's cool to smoke a J. It's cool to hang out and ha and laugh. But when it really comes to feeding my family, are you really my ally or not?
So then I asked, when you talked earlier about the social programs and all that, those now that I look back at what you said, those seem like just real hyper local and hyper to the expungement issue and all that. But what you're really looking for is a much bigger conversation, and it needs to happen immediately.
It needs to happen within the field in which is affected. There are a lot of white folks in this business that have a lot. I mean, like any other business, they come in, whoever has the most capital wins the game. For all the obvious reasons, this game should not be played like that. It's just another situation where we're coming to the monopoly board and everybody's already got their 1,500 and we're starting with nothing. And everybody's like, well, you got to have 1,500 to start going around the board to get the dice. And it's just like, well.
And that's got to be really frustrating looking at the current initiatives that are on gathering signatures across the board.
It's frustrating that it's getting the movement that it's getting within the industry. That's what's frustrating, is that the industry is not coming out and saying, look, this ain't right. It's supposed to be a together industry. It's supposed to be about all, we all together in this and we all coming from the same vein. And it's not. It's a clear split, and it's a clear, deafening silence on behalf of those who are with that, and they know the cons that come with that, and they don't care because it doesn't affect them. And this is the same tone and attitude and tone deafness that we've had in other issues that creates a split and that creates a situation where once we get into the game, there's a certain level of indignance that we have towards the other people that are already in the game. And then that creates something where people are like, well, we don't want to do business with that person. And now we saying, oh, we don't want to do business because I'm black. And now we back to square one in a situation where we could have had a clean slate, but we had to fight again. We're tired of fucking fighting in every industry, in every field, every time. Like, this should not be a debate. This shouldn't be an argument. Like, white people should be coming to us with great ideas about social equity. Or even better, white people should be asking us what we want in social equity in this business that's coming, this new enterprise that's hit the Missouri state. Like, that's what it should be happening, and it's not. And it's beyond frustrating for those of us who are just like, look, man, I'm not even in the industry, but like, I know fair is fair. And like, these are the same people that are going to be bitching and moaning and call themselves progressives on other issues.
Very good. I'm grateful for your time. I know that was a strong conversation, but a lot of this stuff isn't being heard or talked about in other forums. So I really appreciate you taking the time and talking to us and talking to the folks out here.
Right on, bro.
Awesome stuff. Representative Wiley Price IV out of St. Louis, Missouri. We really appreciate you being up here and being a voice for cannabis and being a voice for the folks.
Okay, guys, welcome back to Waxy Brown's Flower Power Hour on KKID 92.9. That was what's happening? That was a very engaging, very energetic conversation. And knock it off, Steve. Steve's messing with me on the boards.
I think there was a little passion in that conversation.
I do, and I think I had a lot of respect afterwards for how strong the conversation got and how we were able to navigate through it.
So what's next?
Steve.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for it to start.
Oh, okay.
It's
Gotcha.
They're
So
talking backwards.
who is?
There you go.
All
Do we
right.
have a caller? It's 46?
Nope, I don't have a caller.
Okay, well, we'll see who this is, though.
Yeah, check it out.
All right, do you want to play a song?
Yeah, I think we're going to go to a song, and when we get back, we're going to talk to Big V, Top Shelf, Big Z, and Zach out there. So take us away, Steve. We'll be right back with you.